Welcome back to Circuit Demon HQ. Today we're going to show you guys how to install your Stage 2 OEMS headlights for the 08 to 14 Subaru Impreza WRX STI, whatever. Oh, I gotta think for a second. So first off, thank you for your support. We try to make the install as easy as possible, so everything is already labeled and the ballast, all the other stuff that you need for the headlight is already attached to it. It's just gonna be pretty much plugging things in. So we just wanna show you how to route the wires, what to plug in where, and how to work the multicolor stuff. First thing we're gonna do is pop this hood. So Chris over at Boosted Creations let us use his clapped out Chariot today. So thank you, Chris, for that. We would show you guys how to take the bumper off, but his is a little special, a little different. It's got these little push tabs here, so. We'll show you guys just in general how to take it off and go from there. So the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and take off the push tabs. So there's gonna be 4 of them. Don't worry about the grill ones, just 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the wheel well, 1 up top and then 2 below there. And then there should be 3 tabs on either side between the front headlight and where the wheel is. There's gonna be 3 there. I think there's 2 or 3 in the middle and then 3 on the other side as well. Like I said, we would show you guys how to do that on this car, but it doesn't have those anymore due to the everything. So at this point we have all the bumper clips pulled. The bumper is ready to come off. The one thing to make sure that you remember if you do have fog lights is to make sure that you unplug the fog lights right at the bulb and then you can pull the bumper away. So today we're going to be installing the Stage 2 gill set of headlights. These don't have any halos. Your set might. You'll want to follow along either way. So we have the headlights here. They have everything already plugged in on them. We're also going to have our multicolor Bluetooth remote that's included. You'll also find a packet of dielectric grease and then some heat shrink. This will be important for later. And the tools you need is going to be a 10mm socket, a flathead screwdriver, and then a Phillips head screwdriver. Alright, so at this point we're ready to take the headlights off. So we need our 10mm socket, our flathead screwdriver. What you're going to see is there's going to be 1 little push tab right here, and there's going to be 5 bolts. So we're going to have the top 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5. So Chris is moving one because his car is clapped out, so we're just going to move the one down there. Yeah! Alright, so something to remember when you take these off is number 1, there is going to be the main plug up top here, but there's also a very small retainer that holds that harness to the headlight itself. So you're going to want to make sure that you just depress that 1 tab on the top and then push the other side in, and that should kind of just pop right off. Just like that. Cool. And that should be it. So at this point we are out with the old and in with the new here, so we are ready to put these in. So as you can see, most of the plugs are already in the headlight. So you have your low beam, high beam is all set there, the turn signal is all set. You will notice that this bulb right here is not plugged in. So the reason for that, this is really just to retain the waterproof seal of the bulb, but you can see that the gills are now in that place. So we really don't need that bulb anymore. It's handled by that new projector. We have our ballast in the bottom, and then we're gonna have 2 or 3 wires coming out of the bottom depending on which configuration you have. These are gonna come into handy later. For now they're just gonna hang below the headlight so they're still accessible. So the only plug we're gonna need to do on this is going to be this main plug, which we're gonna see right here. If you have an STI or a WRX Limited, you will have another plug that has 3 wires. It's like a triangle plug. That's for the leveling motor. These headlights don't come with that option, but they still are manually adjustable. We're gonna show you to do that later as well. So we're just gonna plug this main one in. Once again, we can put this little push tab through the headlight just to keep some of the slack out of the way. And then we're just gonna make sure that the wires below are accessible when we install this headlight. So I'm just gonna set it here for a moment and just make sure I can grab these. Cool, we're good to go. All right, so we have both headlights in. We have the 5 bolts all set there. The main plug is plugged in for both, so the first thing we're gonna do is just test it out. So the first click of the headlights, or the running lights, should be just the C's. The next should be the low beam, and then we're gonna try to flash the brights. Cool, those are working. So now we have all that set up, we're gonna go ahead and do the multicolor controller. So this is the Morimoto Bluetooth controller, the XBT. You're gonna find a power and ground wire that's gonna go straight to the battery, and then you're gonna see on this particular setup 4 other wires. We have 2 labeled number 2, we have 2 labeled number 3. If we look at the headlights, we're also gonna see those corresponding plugs with the numbers 2 and numbers 3. So as far as running the wiring, what we recommend is having this unit sit just below the driver's side headlight, right about where the washer fluid reservoir is. There are a few other bolts down there as well as places you could zip tie this up. Now what we like to do is for the power and ground is just kind of sneak up the fender, and there's an opening just right next to the battery up top here. So for now, I'm just gonna leave those right on this battery tie down just to keep them out of the way. So we'll find a good spot for our controller and then run the wires from there. So this is a very important part. The multicolor components are sealed in the headlight, the controller is sealed up, and then we also dielectric grease and heat shrink the connectors on the controller side. The really only weak point in the system is gonna be this plug here that you guys are gonna plug in. So we wanna make sure that we use dielectric grease and heat shrink on that. So the best way to do that is use this heat shrink that we included in your kit. We're just gonna kind of bend it so it's a bit like a rectangle. Slide our connector in there like so and have it pop out that end. Next, we're gonna go ahead and use our dielectric grease, and we are just gonna really add a big gob inside of that connector, kind of overflow it just like that, and then go ahead and plug this in. What this grease does is it just takes up the space between these connectors where water could go, so that way if water does make it past this heat shrink, that dielectric grease keeps it out of that actual electronic connection. We're gonna do the same thing with the number 2 plug right here. Now once we have that heat shrink over top of them and the dielectric grease inside, we're gonna go ahead and heat this up. You could use a heat gun. That's probably the best way to do it. If you don't have one of those, you might be able to use a hair dryer on hot or a lighter. These are gonna shrink up, and there's actually glue inside of them, so it's gonna make sure there's a nice waterproof connection inside there. So for the passenger side, obviously it's a little further away from this remote. There's gonna be enough slack on this number 3 to get us over there, and then the slack is gonna actually be on the, for the number 2, it's gonna be on the headlight side. So we're just gonna run this across, and then take this plug and run it across this way. So we're gonna do the same dielectric grease and heat shrink trick that we did on the driver's side with the passenger. As far as where to route those wires, my favorite spot is right along the bottom of the radiator support. So it's a little tough with this huge intercooler in the way, but if you guys look down here, you're gonna see these little plugs kind of where the horns go to. There's a couple wires there. There's the radiator support right in the middle. But what you can do is go ahead and zip tie these wires to that radiator support or that wire for the front here, and it's gonna keep that stuff nice and tucked down so no one can see it. So now that we have the Bluetooth remote plugged in, the lights are gonna come on white automatically. That just lets us know that they are ready for pairing and the power is going to them. We included a walkthrough sheet. Yours is gonna be filled out for your particular setup. This kind of goes through the app, which one to download, how to set some favorites, other stuff like that. So you guys can read that yourselves. I do wanna show you how to connect with your phone though. So we're gonna open the Morimoto XBT app. From here, yours may ask you to pair with a new device. Because I've already paired before with other ones, we're just gonna hit pair new and pair controller. We'll hit continue. It says to hold on the controller. You can just hold it kind of near this side of the car and it should pair in just a moment. So once it says party time, that means we're good to go. Number 2 is gonna be the gills, which are in the high beam spot. So we can adjust the tone as well as the color where we want them to be. So let's say like we want to do like a nice kind of aggressive red color here. And then we can choose number 3, which are the demon eyes, and do the same with those. So if we want, we can also have those red. If we select both channels, we can do the colors together. Or once again, if we want to have them separate, say we have 2 different colors we want to match, we can do them apart. To turn them on and off is just the on and off switch in the bottom left. There's a lot of other features you guys can explore. I just wanted to show you how to use this. So now that we have the headlights in the car, everything's all set. We have the bumper back on. If you do want to adjust the aim, we're just going to show you guys how to do that. So as far as adjustment goes, all you're going to need to do is take that Phillips head screwdriver we had earlier, and there's a little kind of horse-shaped U slot and then a little gear head. So all you have to do is take this screwdriver, the Phillips head, put it in that U where that gear head is, and twist left and right. That's gonna adjust the aim of the beam. So adjusting that beam up and down, you can kind of fine tune where you want it to be. Now, good rule of thumb for aiming is if you park maybe like 30 feet out from a wall and measure the height from the ground to your headlight, you want it to drop about an inch over that 30 feet. So a good place to do that is if you find like an empty parking lot, like a Walmart or something like that. You can use that wall to check the aim of your headlights and adjust them if you need to. So thank you guys for joining us on this hot, sweaty day in New York. This is how to install your headlights. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. Once again, thank you for your support. See you next time.